Welcome everyone to the four-card breakdown of PFL Week 1. I am your host, Cage. Today I'm going to be breaking down Week 1 of the 2022 PFL season. This is going to be taking place in Arlington, Texas at the Esports Stadium Arena. Of course, this is the debut of this year's PFL season. Last year's season was a major success. It was partnered with ESPN last year. This fight card is going to be taking place on this Wednesday, April 20th at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN and of course ESPN Plus as well. It's going to be headlined by Clay Cotter going up against recently big signee Jeremy Stevens, who, as you know, is from the UFC. And this is going to be a nice lightweight matchup. But if you know who we are, this is Cage My IQ, the best place for MMA content. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch at the handles to the left. If you know by now, you know we are partnered with the Fighters First Network on YouTube. If you don't know, and this is your first time checking out this podcast, please do us a favor and hit the subscribe button down below and hit the notification bell also. That way, whenever we put any of our other content out for Cage My IQ, you guys are the first ones to get it and see it right away. And please do us a favor and hit the like button down below and hit us up in the comment section and let us know what you think of this first week of PFL, and then who do you think's going to win. Just hit us up, show some support in the comment section, and join in this discussion of predictions for the first week in 2022. As always, of course, you know who I am. I'm your host, Cage. Let's get started with the action here on week 1. We got 10 fights listed on this card. The first one we're going into is a light heavyweight matchup between Cory Hendricks, coming back from last year's debut in PFL, where he got that surprising third round submission over Martin Hamlet, the runner up in the playoffs. But he just got inched out of the making the playoffs by 1 point, even though he got that crazy victory in his one fight over there. And then you got him facing Clinton Williams, aka Bamba, making his debut in PFL. If you look right there, Cory Hendricks is coming in at 8-4. He's 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Then you got Clinton Williams, who is 9-5, 2-3 in his last fights. They train out Syndicate MMA and Extreme Couture to the right. If you look at the percentages, 92% are sticking with Hendricks to win this fight, whereas only 8% are going with the newcomer Clinton Williams. And I'm gonna stick with the of course the obvious 92% with Cory Hendricks is coming in there. He has that nice striking background and high level jiu-jitsu, as you know there. If you can make Martin Hamlet tap out, then you've got high level on your side. And I think in this matchup, that's what's going to happen here. Even though Clinton has nice hands and he has good grappling and he looks to get the fight to the ground, I think Cory Hendricks is going to make him tap by rear naked choke in the second round. I just think that he is more advanced at this time than Williams, and that experience of being in PFL last year is going to pay dividends for him, especially that win over Martin Hamlet. So in this one, I'm going with Cory Hendricks by second round rear naked choke. Moving on to the second fight on PFL, we got another light heavyweight matchup between Rob Wilkinson, going up against Bruce Soto. This is a matchup between two newcomers making it here. So at least one of these newcomers is going to come out victorious here. We got Rob Razor Wilkinson. He comes in at 13-2. He is 3-2 in his last five fights, whereas Bruce Soto, aka Salado de Cristo, comes in at 15-3. He is 5-0 in his last five fights. They both come out of Australia and Brazil. They train out of Hybrid Training Center and Four House Gym. Everybody thinks that it's going to be 75% towards Bruce Soto, whereas 25% is going with Rob Wilkinson. And I'm going to go with the underdog here. I'm going to go with Rob Wilkinson here. I think the big thing with me is he has that boxing background. He has high-level jiu-jitsu, whereas Bruce Soto can grapple with you, but he relies a lot on the finishes and those power shots, as you saw in the week one of the Challenger Series. He had to come back in that second round and get that flying knee to pick up the victory there. And I just like how Rob Wilkinson dabbled into boxing while he was waiting to hear back from PFL, and he got a victory in boxing. His hands are nice. He's developed good striking there. He can make you submit. His two go-to submissions are the guillotine and the rear naked choke. He's been able to get 6 or 7 submission victories in his career out of the 13 that he has, and then he has a couple decisions and a couple of knockouts, but his way of victory usually is by submission, which is nice for a guy that sneakily has a good boxing background in his repertoire as well. But I'm going to go with Rob Wilkinson. I'm going third round submission via guillotine here. I think Bruce Soto is going to come out guns blazing. He's going to have success early on Wilkinson. I feel like he might catch Wilkinson and Wilkinson will get stunned, but I feel like Wilkinson's going to recover and then they're going to duke it out for the next half round and then second round. And then I feel like Bruce Soto is going to start getting tired. Wilkinson's going to slowly take over. Then he's going to pull him down and get the guillotine locked in him when he's tired. And he's going to make Bruce Soto tap for his first victory in the last 6 fights. So in this one, I got Rob Wilkinson picking up his debut victory by third round submission and locking in 4 points in this year's PFL season. Moving on to the third fight on the card, we got another light heavyweight matchup between former UFC veteran Omar Akhmadov going up against another UFC veteran, Victor Pesta. This is an interesting matchup because Omar Akhmadov is trying to wash off the last fight that he had in the finale of PFL when he signed a contract thinking that he was going to be a big time deal coming into this year. But Omari Wolverine Akhmadov comes in at 21-7-1. He's 2-3 in his last 5 fights, whereas Pesta comes in at 18-6, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. And then coming in, you got Dag Fighter Gym, and then Sanford MMA and Symmetry Fitness Gym. And the crowd is leaning towards 71% Pesta and 29% Akhmadov. This is going to be a very fun fight because everybody knows that Mari Akhmadov is a hard-hitting knockout puncher, but he starts to fade away after round 2. He puts in a lot of heavy striking early. Like every throw that he has is with the intent to knock out his opponent. So he puts a lot of effort into them. And he's a pretty good grappler as well. He has that sambo background. You push forward, you try and trip your opponent down and you get him down on the mat, or you just ride him with the single double leg takedown to get that. Whereas Victor Pesta has this crazy Murado style, up close combat style, and then he has striking along with it. but ever since he's came and started to train at Alliance, he's been adding a lot of submission uh, entries into his fighting style to go with that close combat where he likes to take you down with the judo throws, with that with single and double leg takedowns, with just side throws, the body lock into leg trip, and then he does a lot of work on the ground with elbows to the face, elbows to the stomach. He just likes to hit the elbows throws are one of his favorite things to do. His striking on the feet is ever improving, but the real work that Victor Pesta does is on the ground. And I think Victor Pesta picks up a first round victory over Omar Akhmadov in this one and gets an early 6 points and puts him at the top of the line after week one. Just due to the fact that I feel like Omar Akhmadov is very hittable now late in his career now. He used to be very dominant. He used to be right down in the top 15 ranking, but he's just fallen off. He gets tired. His cardio is not the same anymore, and I feel like Victor Pesta can take him down, control him down, kind of wear him out a little bit, and then towards the end of the round, he'll finish them with one of his signature elbows to the face that is going to stun Omari, and then he can finish him with some more elbows. So with this one, I got Victor Pesta with that first round knockout via elbows to the face. Moving on to the next fight on this card, we got another light heavyweight matchup between the runner-up of 2021, Martine Hamlet, going up against Theodorus Astorus. This is a good matchup. First, you got the newcomer Theodorus. He has that pancreas background, and he's really good with his grappling. His striking is ever improving. And then you got Martine Hamlet, who is a striker, of course, as you see from Norway, but he's really good with the wrestling and grappling, where he looks to lock you in with the submissions. That's one of the things that he's been doing well lately. But he did in one of his last fights get caught, of course, by one of the last guys we talked about, Cory Hendricks. He got caught in the choke in that fight in the third round. But Hamlet is coming in at 8-3, 3-2 in his last 5 fights, whereas Theodorus Astorus is coming in at 11-5, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. This is Norway versus Lithuania. They train out Frontline Academy and Pancrase Gym, Sweden. And the audience thinks that's going to be 82% going with Hamlet and 18% Asturias. And with this one, I'm going to go with Martine Hamlet, and I'm going to go with the third round knockout here. I think with the fact that he's going to have the big time striking background on his side, he's going to have the edge there. I think he's going to look to take down Theodorus, but he might try and stick on the feet majority of the time due to the fact that Theodorus has that grappling background that he can work against Hamlet. But Hamlet's going to be the clear-cut advantage on the feet. I think he's going to throw those strikes. He's going to get the jab going. He's going to get the overhand shots. He might, instead of taking down Hamlet, might try and push him up against the cage, throw those elbows, throw those knees to the stomach, and try and wear him down. Then possibly look to take him down. But I think later in the fight, he's going to catch him with the overhand shot, and he's going to put Theodorus down on the mat with the victory there. And Theodorus has been known to get choked out, but I think Hamlet's going to stick with the striking here. And that's why I got Martine Hamlet by third round knockout in this one. Moving on to the next fight on the card, we got a lightweight matchup between Alex Martinez going up against former UFC vet Stevie Ray. This is going to be a very interesting debut for Stevie Ray, aka Braveheart, against Alex Martinez. Alex Martinez is coming in at 8-2, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. He's coming out of Paraguay, whereas Stevie Ray, aka Braveheart, is 23-9, 2-3 in his last 5 fights. He's fighting Glasgow, Scotland. They trained out champion gym and high level martial arts gym. The audience is going with Stevie Ray in this matchup. 78%, where only 22% are going with Martinez. I wasn't really a big fan of Martinez coming out last year. Mm, I thought they gave him a lucky fluke win, split decision wise over Luke Ratchabov. And then he lost right afterwards. He's all about low volume, throwing kicks, throwing punches, but it's all about the counter game with him. Whereas Stevie Ray, he's up in your face. He throws those overhand shots. He throws the leg kicks, right at the stomach. But then he likes to do a lot of his work up in the clinch. He likes to clinch you up against the cage, throw elbows, throw the knee to the stomach, and then he tries to take you down a little bit. He has a very underrated grappling game, submission wise. But in this one, I think he's going to win by a first round knockout here. I I just think he's going to have more to it than Martinez with the power striking, and I don't think Martinez's counter game is going to work well in this system. So in this one, I'm going with the newcomer Stevie Ray by first round knockout. I think he catches him with the storming forward. Uh, Martinez is going to move back, and then he's going to catch him in the chin and put him to sleep early. So this might be one of the early finishes on the card here. But Stevie Ray by first round knockout. Moving on to the next fight on the card, we have Emiliano Sordi versus Josh Silveira in the light heavyweight division. Emiliano Sordi, a former champion, comes in at 23-9-1. Uh, his nickname is He-Man, whereas the newcomer Silveira comes in at 8-0. They're 3-1-1 in the last five, and then 5-0 in the last five on the newcomer side. And then with this matchup here, they train at United MMA Fight Center and Alliance MMA, and then American Top Team Gym. And then a lot of the audience think that it's going to be 73% with the newcomer Silveira, and only 27% are sticking with the veteran Emiliano Sordi. This is going to be very interesting because Sordi has the PFL experience. He's won it before. He made it last year, but lost in the semifinals to the eventual champion. But he's starting to look so like starting to show age. He's starting to get slower. His cardio had a lot of issues last year. He's been known to have a really good jiu-jitsu and ever expand in striking. He had knockout power. He could hit you with combinations. He had great movement and great defense. But it started to show a little bit of age in last year where he got caught with shots, and then he started to get tired after round two. And it gets a guy like Josh Silveira, who has a big time wrestling background and jiu-jitsu background. He likes to get you on the ground. He goes for the single and double leg takedowns. He likes to get you down. He likes to transition to the back and look for those rear naked chokes. I think he's going to dominate this fight. He's just going to be the better guy cardio wise. Sordi might catch him with some shots, but I think Josh Silveira is going to get the fight to the ground. He's just going to look to wear out Sordi, not let him get a lot of offense going by having him on the ground. And I think he's going to finish him in the third round. I think it's going to be a third round rear naked choke submission victory here. He's going to make it the former champ tap. And then Josh Silveira is going to come out of his first fight in the PFL victorious. So in this one, I got Josh Silveira by third round submission against Emiliano Sordi. Moving on up to the next fight, we got the main card opener. We got a lightweight matchup between Natan Shultz against Olivier Mercier. This is a striker grappler against Olivier Mercier, who's a master judo and taekwondo fighter here. This is going to be one where uh, it could be a coin flip, in my opinion. But you got Russo Schultz, who's 21 4-1, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. He's representing Brazil in this matchup. And then you got the Canadian gangster, who is 13-5, 2-3 in his last 5 fights. And then, of course, he's representing Canada in this. And they're fighting out American Top Team, and then HTO MMA, and then TriStar Gym. The audience is leaning towards 56% Natan Schultz, and then 44 Oliviermercier. That's why I said this is going to be one of the closest. This is almost a 50-50 coin flip, just like I said earlier. And it's going to be because lately Natan Schultz has been winning very close split decision matchups. He barely missed the playoffs last year due to not having enough points because a lot of his fights were going to decision. And then we got Oliviermercier, who only fought once, I believe, last year, as you see right there, decision 10 months ago. And then he had the one 7 months ago, back in November on the finales, which he got booked for, but he got 2 decisions as well. He's going to be the guy looking to get the fight to the ground, along the cage, throw the elbows, throw the knees to the stomach. He's going to grapple, try to get the fight to the ground, look for the submissions. Whereas the Natan Schultz, he's going to just look to move around. He might grapple a little bit, might push it against the cage, and he might try and take Mercier down. But he's going to use that box, and he's going to use the striking to try and sneak out a victory by just decision via volume. Even if he gets low volume, his striking is going to be just better than Mercier, because Mercier is going to focus more on the grapple than he is on the strike, and it's going to allow Natan to get more shots off and look for the openings in Mercier's defense to look to finish the fight via knockout. I don't think it's going to happen, but I think Natan Schultz wins by split decision here. And that's why I think it's going to be. It's going to continue his close fight streak here. I think it could be a situation where he just does enough to just edge him in the third round in a volume by like 2 shots, and then they have similar uh, uh, control time with the using the fence, and I think they're going to lean towards Natan Schultz in that one. So in this one, I got Natan Schultz by split decision in this one. Moving on to the next fight on this card, we got the featured bout, Antonio Carlos Jr., the reigning light heavyweight PFL champion from 2021, going up against newcomer Delon Monte, who is making his debut out of Brazil. So that's going to make this very interesting here. But coming into here, you got Antonio Carlos Jr., who, aka Carla de Sapato, he's coming in at 13-5. 3-1-1 in his last 5 fights, whereas Delon Monte is coming in at 8-1, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. And they're fighting out American Top Team and Evolve K Thai MMA Gym. And then the audience is 97% lean towards Junior, and then only 3% chance leaning towards Monte. So this is a landslide, according to the audience. And I'm going to lean towards them too. I think it's going to be a first round submission victory by Antonio Carlos Jr. This guy has one of the best jiu-jitsu in not just PFL, but all of MMA. This guy can get you in any lock from any position. Delon Monte has a lot of power in his hands. And then he also has decent jiu-jitsu where he looks to get the fight to the ground and then take your back. But against a guy like Antonio Carlos Jr., it's going to be tough situation for him to try and get his game going. I think Antonio Carlos Jr. gets to him early, confuses him, and bum rushes him with strikes early on in the face. He throws those overhand shots and the jab. And then when he gets an opening, I think he jumps on top of him and locks in the guillotine and gets it to the ground to where he can get it locked in very tightly, and then he makes a Delon Monte tap to the guillotine on the ground in this matchup. So with this one, I got Antonio Carlos Jr. with a first round guillotine submission victory over Delon Monte. I don't think it's going to be close at all. I think Carlos Jr. dominates this matchup. Moving on to the co-main event of the evening, we got a lightweight matchup between the lightweight champion of 2021, Roush Manfio, going up against ex-UFC veteran and newcomer to the PFL, Don Madge. Going into this, Roush Manfio comes in with the nickname Cavallo de Guerra. He is 15-3, 4-1 in his last 5 fights, whereas Don Magic Man Madge comes in at 10-3-1, 5-0 in his last 5 fights. They train out Team Noguera and then Fight Fit Militia Gym. And if you look at the audience, they're going 61% to Madge and then 39% towards the former champion Manfio, which is crazy to think that the reigning champ coming in is an underdog in his first fight. But if you look at their backgrounds, Manfio has a great cardio. He comes in there, he can grapple with you. He has good hands. If you look at what he did, he won split decision, unanimous decision, and then unanimous decision. So all of his fights made it to the decision by him just doing just enough grappling and striking wise to pull out the victories over his opponents. He squeaked into the playoffs by tying with I think Natan Schultz, and then he just pulled the victories out of nowhere in the playoffs. Whereas the newcomer Don Madge, he has that karate background. He is very well versed with his striking there. He has good grappling, jiu-jitsu, and he likes to use those leg kicks where he throws them all over the down low, down the body, and down the face. He's had a couple leg kick knockouts where he's knocked out his opponent in the head. I remember the one against Dunham. That was one against T. Edwards, which was one of the best as well. But when you look at what he's done, he is really good at pushing the fight along the cage, just doing that. The Muay Thai clinch. And he's beaten guys in the UFC like Ferris Zeman, just like by holding him against the cage, throwing elbows, throwing knees, just controlling the fight in the clinch. And then when they break up, he throws a lot of leg kicks. And in this one, I got Don Madge winning this one here. I think he wins by a unanimous decision because of the clinch matchup and the leg kicks he's going to throw. I think he does more. I think this is going to basically be Roush Manfio meeting his match because that's what's going to happen. He's going to lose by decision because of a guy that's just going to do just enough to squeak out a victory over him. And so with this one, I got the newcomer Don Madge winning by unanimous decision victory and picking up the 3 points in this matchup. Moving on to the main event of the evening, we got the lightweight matchup between Clay Cottard, semifinalist from last year's PFL playoffs, where he got, in my opinion, he got screwed out of a win over Roush Manfio. He's going up against newcomer and former UFC vet and top 15 fighter Jeremy Stephens. Clay Cassius Coward comes in at 20-9, 4-1 in his last 5 fights, where Jeremy Little Heathen Stephens comes in at 28-19. He is 0-1-4 in his last 5 fights. They train out the Pit Elevated Fight Team and Alliance MMA. And the audience is going with a 69% towards Collard and 31% towards the newcomer Jeremy Stevens. If we look at the past here, you could say that Jeremy Stevens has that knockout power, and that could play a big deal with this. And then he has fought a lot of the best competition in the OC. But I'm going to lean towards Clay Collard here. I think he knocks him out in the second round. I just think that his boxing is worlds better than Jeremy Stevens' striking. Stevens has the jiu-jitsu and the grappling, but he has grown a bad chin of late in the past few years. In his last fight, he got knocked out or knocked down right away. If you see right there, he fought Martine and he got knocked down and he got camored within 1 minute. He lost by elbows to ground and pound, decision he drew, and then the drawing with the accidental eye poke. He's just coming in desperate in here. That's why he came here, because he got released, and then he's going to make money here. But I think he's like at the end of his road fighting wise. Whereas Clay Collard came in here last year as a big underdog. He upset Anthony Pettis, and then he came in and got some good victories before losing in the playoffs to Arash Manfio. He has great hands. He's been working on his clinch game. He likes to push his opponent against the cage and throw those strikes there. He has a great jab, of course, great hook. He likes to use the uppercut, the overhand shots. I think he just racks up a lot of damaging volume on Stevens. He could get that deadly shot in the first round, but I think he comes in and he gets grappled by Jeremy Stevens early, but he still gets a lot of shots off. And then once they get into the second round, I think he catches him with the uppercut that stuns him. He knocks him down, and then he finishes him with a little bit of ground and pound here for the victory. I just think that Jeremy Stevens' chin is just a glass chin now. And once you hit it once, you're going to drop him. He's just like I said, when you lose your chin, it changes who you are. And because of that, I got Clay Collard win this one by a second round knockout and getting that big time victory that puts him in a chance very good making it back to the PFL playoffs like he did last year in 2021. So I'm going Clay Collard in the main event of PFL Week 1 of 2022. That'll wrap things up with the Week 1 full card breakdown of PFL 2022. We will be back next week to preview Week 2 of PFL 2022. That's going to be a barnstormer of a card just like this one. But as always, before we get going, I just want to give a shout out to our sponsor, High Tide Herbal. Use promo code CageMyIQ10 at checkout of www.hightideherbal.com to save 10% off your next order. And if you don't know who High Tide Herbal is, just check out the video right now.
Offering high-quality, sustainable products with all-natural, lab-tested ingredients, it's High Tide Herbal's mission to help others live the longest, healthiest, and most productive lives possible. Their hemp-derived CBD products have a wide variety of uses, from helping sore muscles to skin hydration and minimizing skin irritation. They generate results based on your specific needs. Elevate your lifestyle with the new wave of wellness. Visit hightideherbal.com to learn more.
Once again, that's High Tide Herbal. All you gotta do is put in the promo code CageMyIQ10 down below at checkout to receive 10% off your next purchase at hightideherbal.com. That wrap things up with this video. Like I said before, I will be back this time next week to give my predictions for week 2 of PFL 2022. But other than that, if once again, if you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button down below. Make sure you hit the like button on this video if you can, and give us a comment in the comment section of who you like on this week's week one of PFL. But that'll wrap things up. I'm your host, Cage, and I will talk to you guys next time. See ya.